3rd, 5 p.m. One of the first things on the agenda that I'd like to address is this past week, our health agent, Robert Philbrook, decided to retire. And it was effective, I believe it was April 28th, and we wish Bob well in his future endeavors. So, up top, we're going to be hearing from John Haynes. He's on his way down, and talk about some of the high-level plans that are in the works for East Bridgewater. Now, we do have some action items. So, for disposal work permits, 96 Hines Road. I'd entertain a motion.
Motion?
Second.
Second. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So installer's license, Blackbrook Contracting.
Do you want to take these individually,
Yeah,
or?
these are both renewals. We doing them separate?
All the paperwork's in order?
Yep.
We can do it
everything's in order,
together.
Insurance, yep.
Yep, we can do it
I'll
together.
make the motion.
Okay.
Second?
Let's see, hearing a motion, hearing a second. Any discussion? None? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, that's unanimous. And we have the minutes from April 15th meeting.
I make a motion to approve?
Okay,
I'll second.
motion,
Everybody have a
Lisa.
chance?
I'll second.
Second. All in, any discussion? No discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. So unanimous acceptance of the minutes. And I didn't see any bills. Do we have any
So,
bills?
yeah, we did have some bills come in the last couple of days,
Okay.
just to, of our monthly Crystal Rock, which is the spring water dispenser on the second floor, for $9.18. And WB Mason for envelopes, pens, ink, for $65.78. I make a motion to approve the bills?
Okay, motion Lisa,
And second?
second, Matt. Any discussions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, bills pass unanimously. Okay, while we're waiting for
Do you
John.
want to do the, actually, do you want to just jump to the food service permits while we're waiting?
Yes,
Oh,
that's a
right,
good point,
yes.
thank you. So, in anticipation of the junior-senior prom, there are some food service permits that need to be applied for, and there's 4 permits. So, with the fees involved, Montilios is asking for a little bit of relief, just coming in for a one-time event, which I'm gonna make a motion that we waive that fee for Montilios.
Motion?
I made the motion.
Oh, I'm sorry, second.
Second, Lisa. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Passes unanimously. Okay, so, now, our health agent inspected the trucks, correct?
Yes.
And wasn't there also some inspection to be done by the,
So I did email, the fire department did not get notified while I was on vacation. It all happened over my vacation, apparently, so I emailed him when I got back, when I realized he hadn't seen them yet, and provided their contact information, and I do have an email in writing to say that he said to go ahead and issue it, that he will take care of the fire department's end on his end.
okay,
They're not, it's not contingent. Our permit is not contingent on theirs. We're just trying to
Okay,
work
fair.
together in a cooperative effort.
okay, good point. All right, so we have 4 permits: Montilios, Mom on the Go, Plymouth Party, and Mama Deb's. With the last 3, Mom on the Go, Plymouth Party, and Mama Deb's being issued a seasonal, or is that a yearly?
Seasonal, so it'll go through November 30th.
Okay, so a seasonal permit, and Montilios will be a 1-day, correct? Or
Correct.
2-day?
2-day, yep.
2-day. So I'll entertain a motion to accept those permits.
Motion?
Motion Lisa,
Seconded.
second Matt. Any discussions? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
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 Aye, so that's unanimous.
And I think that does it for everything that has to be signed.
Okay,
for
great.
action items.
So while this pertains to the junior-senior prom, we did have a meeting over at the high school with the principal, and this is awful, Clifford is. Mrs.
Karen Clifford,
Karen
yep.
Clifford, yep. And some of the other principals involved in planning the process. So it was an in-depth meeting, fairly detailed. And Sue, do you want to give us some highlights?
Yep, so I did send out, you guys all got your email with kind of the breakdown. First of all, they've been super cooperative. So both events will be outside in a tent. There'll be 2 tents, one for dancing, one for dining. They're gonna follow all current COVID guidance, so if it does change between now and then, 2 weeks away, so not likely, we'll send them the updates. But for now, they'll have 6 people at a table, there'll be assigned seating, so that's for contact tracing, just in the event somebody at one table tests positive and has been dining with their peers. There'll be a pre-registration, it'll be virtual, so they will send us a list of everyone that's signed up and going, and Karen Clifford and I will check, in the day or 2 before the event to make sure that nobody that signed up should be not going because they've been exposed. The food trucks will provide the food, but they will get the food by table, and then they'll go sit down at their tables and eat, and so their masks will be on when they're not eating. Dancing is permitted. The principal does say there's not going to be any slow dancing, it's just going to be fast dancing. It seems like all the advisors for both classes are planning to enforce all the guidance and oversee everything, and Mr. Sylvia, the principal, also said he takes full responsibility. And it seems like they're just so happy to be doing it, that they're willing to follow all the guidance. In addition to the prom, they're going to host a red carpet entertainment event where they're going to have the parents, 2 parents per child seated in the field, the stadium. And after they're seated, the kids will come out in their formal wear and put on a presentation. What did it used to be called? The Grand March, I guess?
The Grand March, yeah.
Put on a presentation for their parents. I don't know if they'll do a couple walkthroughs or what the plan is.
I think it's going to be one.
Just one, yeah. And then after that, the parents will exit in one direction. They're actually going to be parked, I think, up top here.
Yep.
And the kids will go to their prom. So it seems like they've covered all their bases, and I think we're all just kind of happy they get to have something this year. And also, they're not bringing dates. This is just the class. No underclassmen and no other towns.
All right, excellent, Sue, thank you. So we're going to switch back up to our scheduled presentation. And John, you want to join us for a quick update?
Fill me in a little bit on schedule present. What do we?
Well,
I think that Peter and you were coming in to let them know about the new engineering firm that you were about to contract with.
Certainly. So the town has been working for the last 4 months on developing a comprehensive engineering services agreement for the town as a whole, rather than utilize individual departments and commissions into utilizing their own separate review firms and engineering contractors and in-house and out of, there was an effort to consolidate that for a number of different reasons. Consistency within the review process, efficiencies within the planning, scheduling, review process, so that information would be provided to the boards and commissions in a timely manner, a professional manner, and consistent manner across all parties, providing a benefit not only to the boards and committees, department heads and things that would be utilizing the firms, but also to the applicants. We think there'll be a great benefit to the applicant to see a project actually move through from submission to approval in a far more expedited but still efficient and complete review process. So we went through that process. We received 11 proposals back from a variety of engineering firms. A panel was selected to review those 11 proposals. From there, it was narrowed down to 3 applicants that the town then sat and interviewed with. One of those applicants actually withdrew, identifying that they potentially have a conflict of interest because they represent private interests as well. One of those private interests is potentially moving forward with a project that would come before the town of East Bridgewater. So we appreciated that they were forthright with that. And so that we then followed up, and last week interviewed 2 firms, and both firms were excellent. Both firms that the town has had good, positive relationships with before. It worked out well. But it came down to the panel is making a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen that the town move forward with the Environmental Partners Group. We've worked with Environmental Partners Group for a number of years in different aspects of the town. Board of Health has some relationship with them. Conservation Commission has worked with them before. The Department of Public Works has a long relationship with them.
I'm sorry, John, it was environmental.
Environmental Partners. They're a firm out of Quincy. And one of probably the 2 biggest decision-making factors were, one, that they have comprehensive engineering. They can address all aspects of the town's needs internally with their firm. They won't need to utilize the services of any outside subcontractors or such. So all the needs of the town can be actually dealt with working with one firm. The other thing that we all found appealing is the fact that 97% of their clientele are municipalities. They specialize in servicing municipalities rather than being a general services engineering firm that, again, may have a potential conflict arise. So we all thought that would serve the town of East Bridgewater well. They do this for a number of South Shore communities already, similar-sized communities. So, and they have a great deal of flexibility within their company, and can not only do a traditional plan review, but also emergency on-call, smaller task-related engineering services, the such, and again, have a lot of flexibility and are willing to work with the community to make it a good fit. So I hope that with that information, the Board of Health, when we structured the proposal, we included the Board of Health as a board or
Yeah, sure.
an entity within
Yep.
the
They'll be able to
comprehensive
utilize the
proposal.
services. Yep.
So that service will be available, and our hope is that it will be the firm that the boards all choose to utilize, again, for the reasons that we've laid out and what we anticipate will be the benefits of having such a.
So do we have a fee schedule?
We do have a fee schedule that'll be provided.
Okay.
And another thing that we liked about their structure is what they'll do is each board commission will appoint a designated authority with each. So when a project is originated, project comes in front of the Board of Health that they feel necessitates professional engineering review, you'll submit that to them. They will then reply back with a task, with a scope of service broken down in tasks that will be signed off on before they proceed with any work. So you'll know what your costs will be before we have, before any board or commission ever decides to move forward.
Gotcha.
And it'll be signed off on it. So again, the town as a whole, per the Board of Selectmen, will have a general services agreement, but within each, I would refer to division, group, board, commission, there'll be a task for that particular review.
Now, you said there'd be a task aligned to that particular review process, and you said there'd be pricing, almost like a restaurant menu type?
Yes,
Here's what
it'll
it
be a
is.
not to exceed per task.
Gotcha.
And then what we'll be able to do is identify within that scope of service, which tasks you may be interested in. There may be 5 tasks identified. You may choose that you only need to utilize 3 of those 5 at this point. Or you may start with, well, let's start with 1, 2, 3, see how the project develops. Then we can come back and always approve 4 and 5. Again, there's a lot of flexibility in the.
So this has been or is going to go before the Board of Selectmen?
Yes, so the panel has met with, so they met initially after interviews, and then have met again as of today, and have made a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen. The service agreement is with Town Council right now being reviewed,
Okay.
and hopefully it can get turned around quickly and will be in front of the Selectmen for award, a signature actually, because to be honest, it's engineering services are exempt from Chapter 30B procurement. So this is a service agreement that the town can enter into, and that will then facilitate the ability for all of us to move forward and utilize their services. Essentially, it's an on-demand contract, or as needed.
Great.
I know a number of other boards and commissions already have things that they're up against, timelines right now to have reviewed. So they've even extended to the point that, they're willing to look at those things beforehand
Are
if
they?
necessary. If there are things right now that are, pressing, they're willing to utilize, provide their services, and then we'll invoice or.
So let's just say if we
Job.
had some plans that, again, we're kind of up against it, would you have that contact information? Is that?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
So if you and John could work that out,
Yep.
and then maybe we could.
Get a price on that.
Be the test and learn for the town, as to see how well, the quick interaction can go.
No, I know the planning board is in a very similar situation.
Exactly,
They brought that forward, a concern. that-
I think that'd be a huge help,
So-
getting ahead of the curve and being able to utilize.
Because we wouldn't want a situation, again, it lends to their flexibility and says that they're willing to, be flexible in working with the community. And I think that'll make a great partnership moving forward. I have a lot of confidence that this'll work out, and I think it's gonna be a benefit,
Great.
not only for boards, commissions, people that work for and with boards and commissions, but I really think it's gonna be a huge benefit to the applicants.
To our
see these-
customers.
Exactly.
To our customers.
See these processes, move smoothly,
Yep.
expectations known, meet the expectations, and approval will be, forthcoming.
Excellent. Anybody have any questions, comments?
I just had a quick question. So the task menu with the fees based, is that something that we will have on hand, like a guide, or is that job specific?
It's job specific, so it'll be structured for each request.
And
Now,
then do
if
they-
it's
Go ahead. I was just gonna
Look-
say the turnaround time, did they give us a quoted turnaround time? Like, say if we had something, how many days would it be for them to review, get us back a price?
Those are all guidelines that we'll put in place. Now, I would assume, and again, this is an assumption, but I would think if you have a single-family residence septic and plan review that needs to be done, if it's a 4-bedroom plan that's pretty run-of-the-mill, then the next 4-bedroom plan will be the same. It won't change dramatically. It'll really be, what does the board determine that they need? Is there additional review that's required? Then you might see the scope change a little bit. But, on-site inspection, how much on-site inspection, if there's a particular concern. Those are all things that you could identify beforehand and say to them, and I think we all recognize, and this is gonna be a learning process for all of us.
Yep.
There may be a few trips, and we fall and we get back up. But again, I feel that I have a lot of confidence that we can work through those.
Fastest way to learn is when you get your nose on the floor, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Anything else?
I'm good.
Good.
And one of the way the proposals were actually structured, where we received the general the general proposal, and then as an attachment to each was their pricing structure. So we reviewed their qualifications first and felt whether they were most suited for our applications. And then we open their pricing structure. And happy to say that, you know, the firms actually that we felt were all qualified to meet the needs of the community, their rates all were within $5 to $10 of each other per hour, per position. It's you know, it's a competitive market, you still have to be competitive, so, you know, the rates all fell. You know, one position, the senior engineer may be this much, $5 more here, $10 more an hour.
Right.
But on average,
They wash
they
out,
all
yeah.
work out, so it wasn't a situation where one was exorbitantly different than the other for their rate per hour.
Fantastic. Look forward to it.
I think,
All right, thanks, John.
Can I just ask a question through you,
Sure.
John? While I'm looking at you, it just occurred to me that maybe I should have thought of this before you got here, but the beavers, so that's been kind of something that Bob had been working on with
Gotcha.
John, with Rob.
with Rob.
Craig
particularly,
Windsor. I asked Craig today, because, you know, there is a file like this thick with beaver stuff in the office, and I didn't know, like, I know it's our responsibility to issue the permits to trap them, but when it comes to actually what's going on now with the beaver, what do you want to call it, the control structures that they're putting in
impact.
place there. Craig seemed to think that maybe Rob could be the point person on that, and we could, you know, when it comes to money and paying for things, we can kind of work that all out. I don't know.
Perhaps, I think in some sense that really, the beaver issue is, as far as Public Works is concerned, is only in the realm of how it impacts a public right-of-way.
Right.
So I don't know.
I have to talk about that a little further.
I think maybe we need to have a little more, because there's gonna be a number of situations that I could see developing where there's an impact, but it doesn't have an impact to the public way.
Okay.
So it may not be, again, as far as, we're always happy to assist as, you know, operationally
Okay.
and provide support and things like that.
I think there's like a contract in place right now somewhere, correct, with a guy from Western Mass,
I think that was set up through
through Bob?
your office.
Okay.
Um,
All right.
Yeah, let's
go digging.
get our arms around that one a little bit more. and
Okay.
See, because that's what I think we're gonna find that, and for those of you that aren't aware, this is gonna become a big problem. I have a concern. Once a habitat or becomes established, it stays. There's no way to eliminate the beaver situation, the population. Once they've identified an area to populate, they stay here.
Yeah.
And they're prolific. And they'll move, you know, to another area and build another dam and another den. And one of the situations of living in a community called Bridgewater is we have a lot of suitable conditions for an expanding beaver population. But I think a number of those are gonna be impacting the, you know, probably particularly like conservation areas.
Right.
Is where the populations will continue to establish and grow, and then, you know, it's gonna expand, so. I think we really do wanna spend some time thinking about how best is going to be to manage these situations, because
I'll send you guys all the literature.
I think I read most.
yeah, I'm pretty confident we haven't dealt with our last situation. I know,
No, I don't think so.
there was a different technique applied on Elm Street to the situation there at the mill pond, which had immediate impacts, but whether or not how sustainable that will be, I'm not sure. And then, as with everything, when you do one thing, it has a counter reaction.
Yeah.
So,
All the unintended consequences.
yes, so I think we really need to start to consider how we're gonna move forward with those situations in the future. Yeah.
All set?
Yeah, I just thought, when I
No,
looked at it, I
that's
thought of
great.
it, I was like, what else are we forgetting?
Strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, John, thank you.
No, my pleasure. Any questions, feel free to give me a call. Any support we can provide.
So getting on to the last item for discussion, office, staff, and operations. We discussed earlier tonight the retirement of our health agent. We're in the process of reevaluating that position in whole, how it relates to East Bridgewater and with some of the other operational elements that we have at the Board of Health. So that's a work in progress right now. But a couple other elements in line with operations. We have generated a dedicated email address for the Board of Health, and I believe it says chairperson or chair Board of Health.
Health chair.
Health chair, and I had it up here, I apologize. So, health chair at East Bridgewater, Mass, or MA.gov. Health chair at East Bridgewater, MA, all one word, .gov. And so we'll be utilizing that email address. If customers or folks have questions regarding pretty much anything Board of Health, and it'll come in through that, the communication will go back out through that email address. Sue's gonna help monitor that as well. I have access to it right now. And that way there, as things evolve and as the chair position changes and things like that, that will be a consistent method of communication for the citizens, just kind of to get a hold of the board directly, and then we can go from there. And that's not to say that, nobody can reach out to anybody and ask any questions, but we just felt that there was a need to have a central form or a central avenue, if you will, for direct communication. So that's out there, and we think that's gonna help a bit.
The link is on the, and when you go onto our website, there's a link for my email, but there's also a link next to your name for health chair, and that will rotate every year
Perfect.
with Webb as chairman.
Yep, excellent. Now, also with the retirement of a health agent, it's putting a little bit of pressure on the office. So, Sue, you've reached out to, if you want to bring us up to speed on
So
the
I do
volunteer.
have, so Nancy Hill from the Council on Aging, every year does, it's the senior work-off, tax work-off program. So they can put in so many hours per year, and get abatement on some of their real estate taxes, this qualifying, stuff. So I did reach out to Nancy Hill this week to see if the program was still effective. They hadn't really been doing it through COVID, but, I'm vaccinated, so I was comfortable having, letting someone else feel comfortable coming into the office. So she did get back to me that she does have someone that, can do some mild data entry and some filing,
Perfect.
that's worked in an office. So I think they, 3 to 5 hours a week. And she was getting her second vaccine this week, so she was gonna touch base with me after she was comfortable coming in, so.
Good.
I think her name is Nancy upstairs. So that will at least, help with some of the backlog, because we have a backlog of, we have to enter all of our pumping records. Every time your septic system gets pumped, we get a report and has to be entered. And that
Okay.
took a back burner during COVID. And we have a new program that's gonna be coming called People's GIS that will be able to import Excel files once that's up and running, but they're telling me probably September, so.
Oh, yikes.
In the meantime, they have to be entered, so she can work.
So
with
the Excel file will come from the septic company?
So right now, they all send me their files electronically,
Yep.
and we manually enter them, because the programs aren't compatible. We have a very old program right
Okay.
now. The IT director that we have, Ryan, is working on getting us all on the building department's already on it. So the hope is at some point, you're gonna be able to click on a piece of property and see, what they have for building permits, what they have for
Gotcha.
septic permits, how many bedrooms they have. So there's a big picture involved, and we're on the way.
Okay. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to bring up, discuss, talk about?
Did you want to talk about the updated COVID guidelines?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I have a bunch of stuff, actually. Yeah, so number one there, the
How did I
COVID
miss
guidance.
number one?
That's all right.
Number one, okay, thank you, Matt.
So I put it on the website and on Facebook, we're moving along with our opening. So everybody's already aware now that the outdoor mask guidance has changed to say that if you can socially distance, you do not need a mask outdoors. They've also taken away the fining part of it, so there's no more fining.
Now, the outdoor mask, that there are exclusions as far
Yeah,
as.
so, yep, so you still, if the guidance calls for it, you still have to use it, so that's events, sports. So if they have specific guidance for something, and that guidance calls for masks, then that does not eliminate the need for masks during those activities. just for general,
Just to reiterate, so I forgot what the presentation event for the prom.
Yeah.
Red carpet.
yep. The parents all have to, yeah, they all
They're
have
still
to,
gonna need to wear masks
Yes.
outside.
As of
'cause that's-
today, yeah.
As of today, because that's
Yeah.
an event. Okay, just wanna
Yeah.
make sure that,
as of today. Now, in saying that, I was on a conference call on Friday, and it does say updated guidance is coming for some outdoor events on May 10th to include some changes to sports and to other recreational outdoor
Okay.
activities. So we may see,
So-
like in lower impact sports, we may see some loosening of that mask
Mhm.
guidance. They said we may get a preliminary view of that before the 10th, and if we do, I'll get that right out to all of
okay,
you.
perfect.
But the May 10th there is expected to be some changes to.
I
some
think
of
it's
that.
like a heat component, that they implemented as of last year as well, that as the temperatures rise,
Yeah.
sports where you're running and whatnot, as long as you're in active play, you may not have to keep your
Yeah,
mask
and I think it
on,
depends on the sport too, probably,
Yeah.
like baseball is different than football, and, so.
Now,
we'll see.
do you think there'd be one more follow-up with, or maybe multiple, I don't know what your cadence is with communication with Mrs. Clifford and
Oh, I talk to
prom
Mrs.
team?
Clifford like every day, but.
Okay, all right, I thought so.
Yeah,
I just
yeah, so I mean,
wanted
I
to-
figure, once we see what that's gonna be, if it's at
Mhm.
all gonna affect any of them, but I think, we'll just check in with them as
Right,
we
right,
get
right.
closer to make sure that, they're on cue and good to
Yep.
go. The other guidance, it kind of tears out, then we go to May 29th. We're gonna see, actually, it's before May 29th, that's the second one. There's gonna be changes in, gatherings. May 29th, we're gonna go from 150 outdoors to 250 outdoors. We're gonna go
Okay.
from 100 indoors to 200 indoors. There's amusement parks, parades, road races, those things are all getting phased in.
Mhm.
We don't have amusement parks. Road races are now allowed. I did reach out to our 2 road race organizers, but it was already too late for them. The Viking Sports Parents
Right.
and the Sparkle
Yeah.
Run, they had already arranged virtual runs, so they were too far into the process. But I did let them know that, that was something they could have if they chose to, do that. So, things are moving along. They are planning, or they're hoping for no restrictions as of August 1st, back to full reopening. I don't know if that includes masks or not. They, just no capacity and everything wide open. So they said if the numbers keep trending in the right direction, because right now hospitalizations are way down, numbers are good, then
Right.
it could be before August 1st, but they'd rather put the date
out there.
out there, The other good news COVID-wise is Bridgewater State University has been trying for a long time now to become a regional site, and they are getting their first bulk of vaccine for appointments next week. Not a huge amount, but it's a start, and those appointments can be booked on the Mass Vax Finder site.
Great.
So if you're looking for a more local option, I believe as of right now, they're gonna have Pfizer, but that's subject to change depending on what the state
Mhm.
sends them on a weekly basis, and they're planning to ramp up, probably in preparation for all the students for college and all that too,
Sure.
so. What else? Okay, and the other non-COVID thing was, they did, mosquitoes were part of our webinar for Friday. And that's, Lisa knows, but that's the other part of your job. One of your other health concerns, they are expecting an active mosquito season. Based on the doctor's history and, what they found in cycles over the years, they are expecting an active season. They've already started prepping for it, doing some larvicide, ground sprays. They will have things prepared to do aerial sprays if that becomes necessary. I think they did it early last year. I think it was a good move because I think last year we all were worried we were gonna get a double whammy with COVID and Tripoli, but we really didn't. So, they're ready to go, And the last thing is I had forgotten to add on the agenda as an announcement, and I will, now that we have official approval from the selectmen, I will start getting it out there, is our rabies clinic will be June 21st at Sachem Center, Sachem Rock Farm, rather. 5 to 6 p.m. for cats, 6 to 7 p.m. for dogs, $10 per animal. And Bonnie MacArthur, veterinarian from town, will provide that service for us. Last year, we did get rain, and we had to scramble for a rain date, so this year, we've already set up the following Monday as a rain date. And I'll get all those, the town clerk already has that date kind of on standby. They're gonna do dog licensing the same night. there for us. And they'll put like a little mailing out with their flyer that they send out for dog licensing, and we'll get it all over the place. I think Lisa came last year. It's usually a pretty
Yeah.
popular event.
Do you remember what date we did it last year?
Last year we did it
Was it
late.
August?
Yeah, we did it like July. We were waiting
I
because
was
of COVID.
thinking when they said June 21st,
Yeah.
that, isn't it the rule is that if they're overdue, they can get it, but if they're more than a month
No.
behind?
So if they already had a 3-year before and show proof, they can have another 3-year. If they only had a 1-year, it can't be even 1 day past. So we try to move it back a little bit.
Okay, I was
Yeah.
thinking it was the opposite, that's
Yeah.
why I was like, I didn't know.
So,
if we
yeah,
got-
it wasn't that, I believe it was in July last year. It wasn't that late, but it.
They're always
normally
on a
would have-
Monday?
Yeah, we usually do it on Monday because everyone's working late that night.
Okay. Oh, okay,
And then
gotcha.
the town clerk can come down and
All right.
do the licensing.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I think that's all I have for now. I mean, I have a whole pile of stuff that needs to be addressed, but I guess, like, I have 3 perk test applications, several trash complaints.
Okay, so with the perks, when we talked to Whitman.
So Whitman doesn't, they
doesn't
don't
do
do perks.
So, did those get back out to our mutual aid towns?
So I was waiting for some direction from you. So these all just came in.
Okay.
All 3. So they're doing one for me tomorrow.
Okay,
Bridgewater is unavailable this week. And, West Bridgewater, I'm sure will help me out. We can't rely on them for all of our inspections and perks because they also have a full-time
Sure.
job.
No, I
So we have to
understand.
kind of
Yep.
figure out what we want to do there, but, I'm sure and I've actually had offers from, both Halifax and Hanson to help out too, although Hanson's agent is not a licensed soil evaluator, so I don't think he can do perks
okay.
yet.
So, but Halifax might be able to.
He might be able to
the
help.
pressure off on
I reached out to someone that's filled in for us in the past, but they are too busy with their private business at the moment,
Okay,
so we'll have to.
okay, so that was perks.
So that's perks, but then we also have all the septic systems that will start going in, that are going in, that will need 2 inspections for each system going in.
Okay, what's the closest to where we are today? Do you have it?
They could come in tomorrow morning and say, I'm starting this job today. They don't have to
Okay.
pre-plan it, yeah.
All right, but there's nothing that's in
I
front
have
of us?
nope, I think all the inspections at this very second that I'm aware of are caught up
Okay,
today, yeah.
okay. All right.
I think the only other issue that I had come up is I'm gonna have someone looking for a certificate of compliance. That usually Bob signs, basically that is, when your system is done, have you had a new septic system, anybody, I don't know, if your new system is finished or completed,
Mm.
the engineer goes out and does an as-built plan, the health agent does a final inspection. Once the as-built plan comes in, he checks it to make sure the numbers are where they're supposed to be, and he issues a certificate of compliance. I did check with a few other towns that have worked without a health agent, and the administrative assistant has been able to issue them because the engineer is the one certifying the job is done
Right, right.
properly. And, Bob has shown me over the years how to check the as-built
Okay.
elevations.
Do you feel comfortable doing that?
I
at this
do,
point?
but I
Okay.
would want your approval to do.
Well,
that.
that, what,
What I don't want to do is hold up, like, for instance, the person this week has a closing on Friday.
okay, so, I'm trying to think, what I'd like to do is just have you walk me through the process, okay? So maybe tomorrow we can get together?
Yeah,
and-
absolutely, yeah.
Okay, all right. Do either you two want to join in the fun and go through the checklist of the process?
Sure.
What would be a good time to meet?
Anytime all the kids are in school.
Okay, well, when do you get back from lunch?
Usually 1. 12 to 1 usually.
1:30?
Yeah.
1:30, Lisa, is that?
1:30 should be fine. How long do you think? Half hour?
I don't know, whatever you think, yeah.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too long, right? Okay, all right. All right, we have our first outing.
Well, we don't go to the site.
No, I know.
Okay, I say outing, I was like.
It's a
where's
field
this
trip.
going?
Field
Excited
trip,
about a
right,
field
right, right. Pack a lunch, right? Where's the permission slip?
Yeah, and, and you can just let me know, like I say, I get a lot of random complaints about trash.
Yep, yep.
I have someone's septic system that they feel, that's brand new, that they feel is a problem. So I have a couple just random, out of
Okay.
the normal things that you don't get voted on at a meeting like this.
Sure, sure.
That.
Just your
need to-
daily operational.
Yeah, that normally would, somebody would go out, see what's actually happening there, decide if they need to get an order, and how much time to give them to comply with the order, so.
Okay. All right.
Do we have a time speculum between the time of reorganizing the healthcare agent position before it's posted?
No,
Okay.
but that does not necessarily mean it's open-ended either. I know that doesn't answer your question. You were looking for.
I knew you
date?
had said they were looking at job clarification
Mhm, mhm.
before they post it, so I was just thinking, what are we looking for as far as how long it's gonna be posted? Because if this is gonna go on for a few months, it's gonna get a little hairy.
Right, no, that's a good point. So the main, one of the elements is the new engineering firm, and how that all lends itself to the position.
To take some of it.
It takes it,
off.
correct, yeah.
And when is their meeting?
I don't think he gave.
He
the
didn't,
date.
yeah, that was, yeah, I'll get clarification on
I think
that.
the other problem too is, the only job description I had for the health agent is from when Bob got hired in 2000.
1952?
No, it's from 2001.
Hey.
And the job has evolved, gone back and forth and changed so much since.
So we
then,
have
yeah.
some others that we've been
Yeah.
able to garnish
Yeah.
from comparable towns.
Mhm.
You know, when I say comparable town, a comparable town does not necessarily mean a town that abuts us. A comparable town has multiple criterias that are all within a certain parameter.
Right.
So whether it be population, income per capita, housing market or equivalent values of, so there's a whole bunch of different elements, checkpoints, that go into qualifying a comparable town. So it's not always going to be a Whitman or a West Bridgewater or a Bridgewater, because when you look at their financials and all the different elements of their towns, they're not comparable to East Bridgewater, other than we share a border. So we're looking at, like I said, comparable towns. Those that use a professional engineering firm from top to bottom, not every town does that, and how that all fits. So hopefully within a relatively short period of time,
And even when
we'll
it's
have
posted,
some,
I'm a
we'll have
little
some guidance that
nervous.
that everybody will, we'll
Yeah.
all talk about it, and you can all go through and say, no, maybe this isn't the right alignment for this position, and then we can come up with a final job description and get it out there.
And speaking with Hanson today, they were in a similar boat to us for almost a year. They said they advertised and had trouble getting people qualified to actually apply for the job. I don't know what they were paying, I don't, obviously that, I don't even know how much of that is in our control, but they said it's not as easy as you think to find somebody for the job.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Quite a large plate, especially when you throw the beavers on
Especially
there.
during
and-
beavers in a
Yeah.
pandemic.
The things I've learned in the.
You're right, exactly, yeah.
Yep.
Well, let me tell you, I got a bunch of question marks next to beef, it's like, what? So, anyway, okay. Anybody else have anything?
No.
Okay. Now, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn, and after we adjourn, we still have
To sign.
homework to do, right?
Yeah, you gotta sign,
Okay,
yeah.
so, just like your teacher would tell you, don't run for the door. So I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion?
Motion Lisa,
Second?
second Matt. Any discussions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so that's unanimous. Vote to adjourn our Monday, May 3rd meeting. Thank you, everybody.